Thank you, Margaret, so much, and thank you, all of you, for coming out tonight. It's a dark evening, isn't it, on those roads? Fortunately, I have a chauffeur. It's my husband of 50 years, and we are very dedicated to this issue. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Although many people have encouraged me to take a salary over the last 3.5, 4 years that I've been doing this, I won't do that because all of the resources go for the projects that we have. So a lot of people don't realize that, and I just wanted to make you aware. You have on your laps, or maybe you put it away, but this is a brochure, and inside is the key to resources that you will find helpful. You don't need to look it up tonight, but you might as we're going through. It's a QR code. Do you know how to do that? Turn on your phone and pull up your camera and put it over the QR code, and it'll pull it all up. And it's really it's fantastic for us because we save money with not having to print everything. And we can expose you to a lot more good resources that way. Just a second, I'm going to get set up here. Okay. K through 12 schools, they're in crisis all across the country, big time. I was on the phone yesterday with our leader in Ohio. She was bringing me up to date with what's going on there. And then today I was communicating with a woman in Maine, a woman who's been fighting this for over 10 years. She was actually the first homeschooler to be appointed to a state board of education in any state in the union. It's everywhere, you guys. It's rural, it's urban, it's everywhere. And as I go through my talk, I'm going to be referencing the items that the QR code points you to. So they're on our website. We have a lot of material there, and this will take you right to those pages that are so important. We value students, empower parents, and we enlighten communities. Parents' Rights in Education is committed to valuing students, empowering parents, and supporting communities, but also to secure great educations for public school children in America. As a tax-deductible nonprofit, we were established in 2011, and PRE has inspired parents all over the nation and beyond to restore parents' rights in education. Many people follow us. They take our emails, welcoming more information about what's going on in other places than where they live. So something that's very important to us is that we welcome all students, all families, and community members who care about scholastic success for K through 12 public school students. Our membership is diverse and inclusive. Though PRE families come from all different backgrounds and from all across the political spectrum, we are all united by our love of learning and the possibilities of success in life available to students through scholarship. It's all about the facts, isn't it? Facts, academics, not those fringe topics that we seem to be bumping into all the time. Parents have legal rights. Many people claim they have rights, but they don't have them. We do. Those rights as parents has been affirmed 5 times by the Supreme Court. Imagine that. 5 times there were cases that went to the Supreme Court establishing parents' rights. Some people just don't listen, do they? They've always had these legal rights. The only thing new about parental rights today is a seemingly coordinated effort playing out in the headlines to usurp and undermine the role of the family within our communities. PRE strives for the return of community values properly represented and reflected in school policies without the current trend of coercion, reprisal, as concerns are voiced by parents at school board meetings. Public school boards were created to reflect the values of their communities and to defend and represent the people, providing a bridge between policy makers and tax-paying stakeholders. This is really not that unique, is it? Isn't it pretty much what you learned in school? This is the way our government is to work, and we are to be represented by our school boards. Academics. School is for school, all day. That's it. Very simple, straightforward. It's for school. PRE's mission is to ensure the public schools are safe environments for all students, inspiring and uniting all students as scholars. Parents want their children learning. They want their children learning all day, not just part of the day. Like the NEA declared, 30 years ago, that they were on a mission to limit the amount of basics that were taught in the classroom. I guess they've been pretty successful. So today, public schools have strayed from academics, removing art, drama, and other humanities, as well as access to practical life skills, including introductions to trades. Parents expect their children to attend school to learn academics and not to be politically activated. Uniting students with the focus of academics is job number one in our schools. And we oppose anyone labeling, especially children, as that divides them at a time when an environment of acceptance is critical to their development. By law, schools are to remain politically neutral, unbiased. PRE opposes the promotion of any anti-American, anti-capitalism, and Marxist ideology by government schools, funded by our tax dollars. It's amazing. We pay for this, and they're out to destroy the taxpayers that are paying the bill. Something ain't right. PRE also opposes the promotion of radical theologies, including critical race theory, by administrators, teachers, and counselors. And we are opposed to influence by outside groups who organize and promote Marxism or any other theology that would tear down our nation. U.S. students should be taught U.S. history, the rule of law, the United States Constitution, Bill of Rights, and civics. Medical issues are pretty much at the top of the list these days, aren't they? Especially for our families in Oregon, but in other states as well. We feel like we're on some sort of a, I don't know, it's a yo-yo. School, now no school. Now we're going to have school. Now no school. We're doing distance learning. I mean, parents are just, they're done. We have 8 grandchildren, 3 kids, and some have left the system because of that. So, medical treatments and counseling. PRE protects the rights of parents to be involved in medical decisions of their minor children. Again, this is very straightforward. You would assume that you would have that right, wouldn't you? That nobody would talk to your child behind your back. Nobody would talk about anything having to do with their psyche, right? It's crazy. Schools should not facilitate medical treatments or procedures without written permission from parents or guardians. Margaret asked me to talk about school-based health clinics because you would think by now that we would have them in every school district in the state of Oregon, but we don't. But they are going after a school in Yamhill County They're working on that. The parents are attending school board meetings and saying, we don't want this. We don't want a school-based health clinic. The main reason, parents have no say. You will not be told if your child is given medication or referred out for some sort of treatment that you don't know about. The state says no to alcohol, tattoos, and tanning beds, but yes to hormone therapy, contraception, and sex change. Like many well-meaning programs in the schools, there can be unintended consequences, undermining the relationship between children and their families, and who decides what medications a minor should ingest. And that's even more important now than ever with this inoculation that they are proposing. And who's responsible when choices made go sideways? Yes, there will always be the underserved or disadvantaged. They try to convince us that these students and families are in our communities, and we know that. But they should not be in the school where the kids can leave class at any time during the day and go and talk with someone in the clinic. I'll give you an example of that soon. So this does fall under parents' rights, this question. We have rights. And it also falls under the umbrella of what's the proper role of a school, back to academics. School-based health clinics can refer to other clinics. Those services they do not provide. That's almost more scary than the services they do provide. For example, referrals are made to Planned Parenthood for abortion services, hormone replacement therapy, and chest binders. You know that Planned Parenthood has fundraisers so they can give chest binders to girls for free. Parents don't know. Actually, that is very, very bad for their health. It's like binding, when the Chinese bound their girls' feet. It's a similar type of thing. But with your chest, that's where your lungs are. It's where your heart is. It can be very dangerous for an adolescent girl to wear a chest binder. We stand with everyone's right to tolerance and respect. We all do. We all agree with that. Public schools are for everyone. Political bias should not be tolerated. One-sided political ideologies are often promoted and presented as truth without discussion of the other viewpoints. It's actually called viewpoint discrimination. Reports of discrimination are shocking. Students have been disciplined and even expelled for representing opposing views. You probably know somebody that this has happened to. Worn a t-shirt or spoken out, graded down because their favorite person to write about was Donald Trump, the president of our nation. One parent relayed that her child came home with a paper and it was marked down, the grade, and the teacher had the gall to mention that if you'd written about Trump, you would have gotten an A. If you had not written about Trump, you would have received an A, but because of that, you got a B. No more politics in K through 12 schools. Okay, this is about Newburgh. Tomorrow, Newburgh, we're going to find out if they retain their school board. It has been attacked. How many of you have been following this story? It's horrendous. And I think the reality is it's even worse than we know. There's a lot of stories we don't have. We put out a press release not too long ago, and I thought I would share a portion of it with you. We reported on the political chaos perpetrated on the Newburgh School Board when they passed a banner policy requiring only the United States and the state flags be on permanent display. Dance instructor and school-based health clinic CEO, Kristen Stoller, crossed various boundaries, abusing her trusted position of authority with Newburgh students. Pre sounded the alarm after several concerned parents alerted us to a video uploaded to social media by local political activists. So that was made public. We were just talking about school-based health clinics. So this woman is the CEO of a school-based health clinic inside the Newburgh High School. Now, the video captured was a drag show and revealing adults giving cash to a student. The student performed in lingerie. Now, this is a high school student who attends Newburgh High School. The student currently attends Newburgh High School, where Stoller has been documented as counseling vulnerable student populations. She goes over to the school. She feels, privileged to work in the clinic. Stoller is seen in the beginning of this video introducing the event as a political fundraiser to recall school board member Brian Shannon, the vice chair of Newburgh School Board. This event was held at Stoller's dance studio, Chehalem Valley Dance Academy, home to one of Newburgh School District's after-school programs. So she's the CEO of the school-based health clinic. She runs an after-school program, dance program, at her business, and she's highly involved in the school and has access to kids. Additionally, Stoller apparently provides counseling to vulnerable student populations through the Community Wellness Collective, a nonprofit health clinic inside Newburgh High School. Though she is not a certified counselor, teacher, or school staffer, through both programs, Stoller has had virtually unlimited access to students of all ages, and after recent events, parents are demanding answers. What the heck is going on? One such parent shared her experience at the summit that we put on April 24th of last year. She shared her experience when her daughter joined a GSA club, a Gender Sexuality Alliance Club, and announced later that she had decided to change her sex. Imagine getting that from your daughter. Newburgh parents are now wondering if their child has inappropriately interacted with Kristen Stoller. So she used her access to Newburgh students and seriously crossed the line when she cultivated this after-school relationship with a student. Then that student had that student perform in lingerie to raise money for her own political gains. Wow. I think they're working on that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She asked if they're suing. There's all kinds of suing going on in Newburgh, both directions. So, we look at Newburgh, and Newburgh is really the beta test for whether or not the community can defend the two school board members. Now, these aren't the most recent school board members who were elected. Those two conservative members cannot be recalled yet because they haven't served on the board long enough. So the ones who have been on the board the longest and are serving their second term, Brian Shannon and Dave Brown, the president of the board, they are the ones who are being recalled. They're going to try to recall them. And this is going to be interesting to watch. They've worked very, very hard. They've had flag waves, all kinds of things. And I also did an interview with a gay couple, two gay men who came forward to support the school board members. And that interview is going everywhere. Because what they told me was that they don't believe that we should be teaching sexuality in public school, period. They think promoting early decision making that is being promulgated through the Oregon Health Authority, through a survey that is done every other year with from 10-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds. And they ask those questions, and maybe even younger. You know, what is your sexual orientation? One woman in McMinnville shared with me about a year ago. She said, "Well, I'm getting involved in this, and the reason is I was walking through the park in McMinnville, and I heard some young kids talking, not young, like 6 and 8-year-old girls." And they mentioned, she said she could overhear them talking, "Well, when I grow up, I'm going to be a lesbian." They're probably not getting that at home. They're getting it in kindergarten, first grade. The gay men that I interviewed, has anybody seen it, the interview? Oh, not very many. Okay, so that is if when you use the QR code, that interview, the video, is on the landing page. You have to watch it. I asked them about the survey. I said, "Well, what do you think? Is that good, or is it helpful or not?" Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Young children until they're 18 should not be encouraged to become involved in alternative lifestyles or make a decision. It's a life-changing decision. That is not the role of a school. And a lot of people in the gay community, although they are characterized as everybody thinks the same, right? That's what we're here from the activists. We're all in solidarity. We all agree. They don't. And we're going to be hearing more from them. I thought you might want to know a little bit about the makeup of our government system in relation to the superintendent of public instruction in the state of Oregon. Who is the superintendent of public instruction in Oregon? Do you know? The governor. The governor, by law, is the superintendent of public instruction. That says a lot. That's going to explain a lot when you go to your school board meetings. Now, there is a deputy superintendent who is appointed by the governor. And the deputy superintendent shall perform any act, I'm reading from the law, or duty of the office of superintendent of public instruction that is designated by the governor, and the governor is responsible for any acts of the deputy superintendent. Whoa, that's great news, isn't it, Beth? Because when we sue the Department of Education, we're suing the governor. Next, the deputy superintendent may be removed from office by the governor following consultation with the State Board of Education. And by the way, the deputy superintendent shall receive a salary set by the governor and shall be reimbursed for all expenses, actually, and necessarily incurred by the deputy superintendent in the performance of official duties. Wow, that's a great job, isn't it? Better make sure you do what the governor tells you, though, don't you think? Okay. The 7-member board, the State Board of Education, which would be great if we could elect people to represent us to that board, is also appointed by the governor and confirmed by the state senate. Not too much representation in our school system, except school boards. So, parents' rights. How am I doing on time? I'm okay? Parents' rights have been stolen by SECUS. Anybody know what SECUS is? Yep. SECUS. Yes, they did. They're an arm of Planned Parenthood, actually, and they're the arm that writes curriculum. So they're all about teaching individuals, primarily students, all about sex. That's their role. And so they create and encourage schools to teach what they've written, right? That's their mission in life. Well, they had a big event. I think I'm going to address that in a second. Well, they don't go by that anymore. They have a new name. They put out, these organizations, they're really high tech, and they're all about branding, and they love to announce their new names. So they said, we're going to keep that name SECUS because everybody knows us by SECUS. But we have a new name, and that's Sex Ed for Social Change. They admitted it. They came out with a name that says what we've known forever. Their goal is to change society.
Well, don't just keep that name until it doesn't work. And then they'll
Right.
change it again.
Yeah, probably.
Or until people figure it out.
Right. So, thank you. Yeah. State departments of education are using our children to advance their political agenda, period. They're using them. We can't be naive about this. They have an agenda. The states are now passing laws requiring these concepts to be taught in every classroom subject. Oregon classrooms are saturated because of the promotion and use of obscenity in comprehensive sexuality education teaching. I have a book back there on the table that's called It's Perfectly Normal. It's the older edition. It's really, not as bad as the latest one, but you might want to take a look at it. It's our sample copy. I've lost 2, so please leave that one here on the table before you leave. Thank you. It's pornographic. You can't show that on television. It would be illegal. So they consider the blatant disregards of parents' rights. Parents are unable to access the K through 12 free public education afforded to all children because of this promotion, because of the obscenity. They don't care. Have you experienced that? They don't care what the parents think. And if you opt your child out, oh, gee, we forgot. That's the problem. And since it's taught in every class, in every subject, there's no way to know. Opt-out is becoming an impossible option as the content is taught in every class, including English, history, and art. In other words, parents can't decide what is obscene based on their value system. That's what they're saying. You don't know what's obscene. We'll tell you. We'll make those rules. We know what's best for your children. If the subject matter is offensive, controversial, and promotes risky behaviors for minors, it's not belong in the schools, period. Why do we have it? Even our gay friends, the gay couple that's been married 35 years, they agree. They agree with parents' rights in education. We shouldn't have it at all because it's everywhere. It's available. It's online, through churches, youth organizations, all kinds of community organizations can do this, and then parents could choose whether they want their children to be in those classes. Here's an example. Students will refuse their rights to leave an English class at Lake Oswego High School, their freshman year, to avoid listening to students promoting their GSA club. Can we please be excused? We'd rather not hear about this. No, we will not have any bigots in our school. 3 other kids raised their hand immediately after that first very brave student, very polite student. May I please be excused? I've heard enough, thank you. She wouldn't allow him to leave, or his friends. School choice is one answer, but why should parents be alienated while these extremists take over our schools? Now, you're going to hear from a good friend of mine. We don't go at it. We're just figuring out like when which is going to happen, right, Donna? Donna's going to talk about school choice, and we believe in school choice. It's just a matter of timing. So in the meantime, we have to fight for our kids. Many families who have been victims of school counselors encouraging and facilitating minors to decide to change their sex, and there is so much more. Now I want to share a little bit about CPAC. So you heard about SECUS, Sex Ed for Social Change. People ask, how can this be happening in my school? I mean, like, where is it coming from? CPAC is determined to put their agenda into law. They're all in it together, you guys. So you've got these people who are making a lot of money developing curriculums. Now, this is not just about CSE. This is about all these other curriculums, offensive curriculums that we're fighting as well. CRT, the same kind of model where, and we've watched it happen in Oregon. It's active. It's happened in Oregon. Here we go. Although there is no such constitutional right, CPAC, which is, it's not the CPAC that's run by Mercedes and Matt Schlapp, right? It's not the CPAC that Jack and I attended last year. This is SEPAC. So it's a political action committee. Sex ed, political action committee. Members claim students have rights to sexual freedom. Remember I told you? Oh, okay, thank you. This is not a new revelation, except that they are now running full steam ahead to change laws in all states, requiring public schools to implement their agenda. That's already happened here in Oregon. So, who are they working with? They're working with legislators, they're working with organizations. They put on a big event to kick it off in 2019, and public education is highly involved as partners with SECUS in this national plan to promote sexual freedom and healthcare rights. I'm going to close, and you can ask me a couple questions if you like, but we encourage you to consider chapter affiliation. We are growing fast. It's very easy to figure out, and on your landing page, there are several links, as well as a couple videos, etc., that you can click on and go and check out the chapter affiliation program. There's no cost involved, but we do encourage you to fill out the chapter affiliation form agreement so that we all know what you're doing and we know what we're doing. You know what to expect from us and vice versa. But it's been very, very successful. We've had multiple groups in other states. Idaho just came on board. They were in the middle of trying to put together their website. And when they heard about us from a woman who moved to Coeur d'Alene from Oregon City, they decided, well, let's scrap that. We'll have a page on your site. You guys can manage it. So that also happened in Illinois. But it's very gratifying. And these are great people, awesome people.